Alrighty, match 2 of the series between the league-leading Illawarra Hawks and the South East Melbourne Phoenix. Before we get into the preview, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and let us know what you think is going to happen in this series and also the one between Perth and Melbourne. So, let's dive in. We have Illawarra beating South East Melbourne on their home court at Wynn Entertainment Centre, 101-94. Now, it was another game where South East Melbourne clocked off in a large period of that match, either getting shut out by the Hawks, which does happen to a lot of teams this season, or just sort of faded away. Look, they lost the seeding qualifier to Perth by tuning out in the second half. They tuned out heavily in the first half against Adelaide and were lucky to get through and even make it to the semi-finals. And then they just died in the third quarter, being outscored by Illawarra 32-12, which turned the game on the head considering they were leading by 7 going into the halftime break. Look, it gives you confidence if you're a Phoenix supporter that you do have a chance in this one, but you haven't been able to put together 4 quarters of basketball, which is a huge concern for me, and it's why I'll be taking the Hawks minus just 1.5 points in this game. Look, South East Melbourne are much better at home, especially defensively. The 101 points that the Hawks put on them in the first game of this semi-final was the 8th match in 9 away games where they've conceded over 100 points. You compare that to what they can do in Melbourne and at John Cain Arena. Look, they only conceded over 100 points twice all season, and they're averaging just 89.4 points at home. So there is a little bit of hope for South East Melbourne in this game, but I still just see the Hawks being way too deep. They outscored South East Melbourne, I believe it was 36-23 in bench points. So it just proves the depth. No matter what the situation is in the game, they're finding these bench players like Hickey or Lee or Aldrich, and now even Blanchfield going off and dropping double-digit points. So their roster is just way too deep here. So I give this game, as I said, to Illawarra and for them to cover the 1.5 points, just to get that little bit of extra value in your bet. The game total is set at 198.5. Now, with South East Melbourne being a much better defensive team at home, I'm actually leaning towards the under again. The first game only hit 195, and I think it'll sit around there, if not even a little bit lower in game 2 at John Cain Arena. So I like the under, and then it's about the player props. Look, both guards, Tyler Harvey and Trey Kell, scored 24 points each in the first game. And the big power forwards and centers were a little bit quiet. Froling only scored 10 points and 4 rebounds, and Aldrich also scored in single digits. It was only Blanchfield as a forward that scored in double digits, but he scored all his points from the 3-point line. I think in this one, South East Melbourne are going to be much tighter against the guards. They're going to have to shut them down. Illawarra also shot over 40% from the 3-point line at home. Doesn't usually happen on opposition court. I think they're going to utilize Froling a lot more in this game. It's going to be more of a grind. You're going to have to work a little bit harder for the points and push in the paint. So Froling's point total is at 13.5. I believe he goes over that. We should see him be utilized a lot more on offense in this one. So Illawarra Hawks minus 1.5. Game total under 198.5, and Sam Froling over 13.5 points. Now, just remember, happy punting and gamble responsibly.